2020, Happy New Year's Day to you. Oh, can you believe it? How are you feeling? Are you feeling a little bit shabby, a little bit tired around the edges? I look exactly how I feel. A little bit shabby. But there's only one New Year's Eve a year and we had some fun. It was a great time. So today I am talking about chasing your dreams and the importance of chasing your dreams. And this has been sort of spurred on by a few things. One of them is the fact that my son and his band launched their very first debut single today. And I think so many of us have dreams inside of us. So many of us have books we want to write, guilty as charged, music we want to create, plays we want to script, just career changes we want to make, things that we want to do in our lives. And for some reason, we have the passion to do it, but then we start to work out all the little things that could go wrong, and we just think, oh, maybe I'll do it another time, and we end up never ever achieving that. And so that was partly the driving force for today's topic, but also I think the beginning of the year is a great opportunity for us to actually just take a bit of a breather and think, what do I want to achieve in the next 12 months ahead of us? I mean, I'm somebody who says, regardless of the time of the day of the week, you can start this very next second to make changes in your life. However, oh, thank you so much, Pradeep. Happy New Year to you as well. So I think, you know, it's about today I'm going to describe a few things, just to share a few stories of people who have actually created that success by not particularly having a plan or a map in front of them to create that success, just the belief or even the thought that it's something they would like to achieve, and they've gone on and to have achieved that, and also give you a few tips as to the best way to sort of put your goals out there to ensure the best chance of you succeeding. So for instance, whoever is listening and watching to this right now, whether you catch the replay, where we are right now, pretend we're all like in a big hall, and in exactly 1 year's time we are all going to meet up again, and we're going to share what we've managed to achieve, or we're going to share what has happened in our year between now and 365 days on from today. And I find that quite a sobering thought, because it kind of makes you feel, oh, well, I had better set some goals then, and actually I better take action on those goals, because otherwise I'm going to have nothing to report. And I think it's really important to understand that life is constantly in flux. We're constantly moving. We're either striving towards something, so we're going up as far as our perception of I suppose how we are succeeding in life goes, or we're going down, and that we're never really walking along a neutral path. It tends to be going up consistently or down consistently, and that trajectory could be so minuscule that right now you can't even see it, you can't notice it, you can't feel the difference. But in 365 days time, you are going to notice a big difference in that trajectory to wherever you started at today. So just a sort of, I think it's, with things that we can enhance or damage in our lives, they tend to be things like health is always an important one. Our financial situation is always an important one. Our relationships, our life satisfaction, how content we feel in our life. I think sometimes it's easy to say, okay, I've got my finances under control, but your relationship sucks because you're always working. Or you've got your health under control, but your finances are just in such a mess because, you're finding it hard to spend sufficient effective time on each area of your life in order to sort of have that overall sense of contentment and overall sense of you've kind of got this in the bag. Today I jumped on a training that we were doing within our coaching team, of vision boarding for the year ahead, and it was really interesting to hear what some of the girls and the guys in there have got on their boards, and some of them have got massive goals, and who are we to say, oh, you're not going to achieve that, because it's so achievable. I think the bigger and the scarier the goals are, I think it gives you that power. It helps to create a sense of momentum, greater momentum. And while you may not reach that, say, I don't know, multiple six-figure income if you're only just scraping by now in a year's time, I bet, if you've set yourself that goal, you're going to be a lot further along that pathway than you would be if you'd said, okay, I just want to be earning sort of 2,000 a month. So if you know you've got to commit to bringing in around about 10,000 a month, you're going to be a lot closer to achieving that than if you set a much smaller goal. So I always encourage people to dream big, because although it's not just about dreaming, it is about taking massive action to make sure your dreams come true. You can't just sit and think about it. You do have to take massive action, but you can support yourself in that by making sure that you surround yourself with people who support you on your journey, surrounding yourself with people who are going to support you getting those goals. So for instance, if you're always hanging out with people who are gossiping negatively about people all the time, or who are constantly moaning about how the system is defrauding them or defaulting them, or how life's just not fair, or how things always go wrong for them, they are not going to be the people who are going to support you in your journey to achieve those big goals, because moaners moan because they're kind of stuck in that rut, in that victim rut. You'll find a lot of successful people, when you sort of leave comments and things like that on social media, or you're sort of having interactions with other people, successful people tend not to write a negative comment. They probably just won't write anything at all. But you'll find it's the moaners and the takers from society who will leave the negative comments. Rarely, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen like somebody like Tony Robbins or Jack Canfield or, I don't know, John Maxwell leave a crappy negative comment somewhere. They'll either leave really positive, constructive criticism, which hopefully you learn from, or they won't write anything at all, or it'll be positive. So I think it's really important that you are aware of the type of people that you are surrounding yourself with, and also the literature that you're reading, the books that you're reading, the films that you watch, the programs that you watch. There is such a wealth of personal development materials out there these days. If you want to achieve big goals, I think you have to be feeding yourself, your brain, with information that's going to lift you up, give you that energy, give you that sense of belief. Just off the top of my head right now, the very first really impactful personal development book that I read was by Jack Canfield, called The 12 Success Principles. I've read it 5 or 6 times, and I will reread it again, because each time in my path, the very first time I read it, I wasn't in psychotherapy then, I wasn't being a coach then. I took so much out of it the first time I read it, and now I know, given the fact that my path has gone a lot further, there are new things that I would take from listening to him or reading him. Another one is The Slight Edge, and I can't remember off the top of my head what the author is called. The Compound Effect is another really good one. These are all they're books that will help support the notion that by making tiny steps in the right direction, thank you for the heart, that by making these tiny steps in the right direction, they have that cumulative build-up to help you get to where you want to be. But they also have the same propensity to take you further away from where you want to be if you're not taking the right steps. So while I'm all about sort of enjoying life and finding a sort of healthy balance, if you want to improve your health, and if you want to improve the state of your finances and the overall quality of your life, you are going to have to be taking consistent steps which are positive for you and not negative. I know that's pretty obvious, but I think a lot of people think, I'll just do it tomorrow, or that one thing isn't going to make any difference. The one thing isn't going to make any difference, but when you do it consistently, it is going to make a difference. So just bear that in mind too. So I think, just sort of looking at a few things that I have taken from vision boarding and trying to set my own path for fuck success up. Should have put my teeth in today. It's not about not having bumps in the road. Challenges are always going to rear their head. You know, none of us signed a contract when we were born that we were going to sign the let's have an easy life contract. But all of us learned how to walk. And we all did that by falling over many times. None of us were born with the ability to walk straight away. And as we get older, we seem to adopt this approach that, oh, it's going to be difficult, so I won't even try. And this is what holds us back. If we could re-adopt that energy, or just the enthusiasm and the determination without overthinking it, just putting one foot in front of the other. So, standing up on little wobbly legs and hanging on to something for grim death, and eventually having the confidence to sort of let go of that thing that's supporting us, and then probably falling down again, and that consistently, and then maybe be able to take your first step forward without any support, and then maybe 2 or 3 steps forward without any support, and you learn how to walk. Nobody told you how to do it. You just had this desire that you wanted to be able to get around on your own 2 pins and do it and gain that independence. And we lose that as we get older. I think we become more protective of ourselves, and we get really good at thinking of all the reasons why things will go wrong. Whereas when you're a baby, you just kind of, well, I'm just going to stand up and give it a try and see if I can stick one foot in front of the other. If I fall down, doesn't matter, I'll just get back and try again. And when you think of somebody like Nelson Mandela, who became the president of South Africa, having been in prison for, 25 odd years? I mean, it's just phenomenal that story even exists. I was reading about Bannister, who broke the 4-minute mile, and this had been a challenge for runners for years and years and years. I think it was in 1954 when it happened. He broke the 4-minute mile barrier. And then within, I think it was 46 days, somebody else had beaten that record again. And then 2 months later, both Bannister and I think the guy's name was Landy, both beat their own records yet again. And by 2018, I think it was around about 1,500 people, according to CBC, who had run the sub 4-minute mile. But you see, until that 4-minute mile limit was broken, everybody thought it was impossible. But once it had been broken, we had it in our minds that if we were decent runners, we could give it a go. And now a lot of, not masses of people, it's 1,500 since 1954 is not that many, but it's significantly more than before 1954. So, my point is that until we, when we can dismantle these fears or this idea of impossibility in our brain, it makes it all the more possible for us. So the 4-minute mile, we all talk about it now as though, well, yeah, it's just something that happened. Eventually, the Wright brothers managed to fly a plane. How did they do that? Either they failed masses and masses of times before they were able to do it. And so it's not about having this dream and this vision of creating something amazing and it's suddenly happening and success becoming yours overnight. There are going to be bumps. But the most important thing is that your dream is bigger than the bumps. You don't let the bumps in the road hold you back. You don't let the bumps in the road steer you off your course. And so I don't know what sort of quantum physics means to you, but just to sort of go with, it's been scientifically proven that when we have a thought, it comes out at a different energy level. All our thoughts have vibrations. Now, if you think of a really angry thought, and you really get into that state of that angry memory, you'll find that your jaw will start to tense up, your brow will frown, your breathing is probably going to become shallower, and the energy that you're putting out is going to be vibrating at a lower level. But then if you counter that with something like love, so get into a memory which is so happy, so full of joy and pleasure for you, you're going to be giving off a completely different vibrational energy, and it's going to be much, much higher. And energy attracts energy, like attracts like. So if you're putting out the negative thoughts, which is another reason why you don't want to be surrounded by toxic people, because if you ever walked into a room and you feel the energy, whether positive or heavy, sometimes you can walk into a room and it lights you up. You just think, oh wow. And then there are other times you just think something's happened. I know something serious has happened. Nobody says anything. Nobody's looked at you in any way, but you can just feel it. And though that is that energy, that's that vibration. And it's been scientifically proven with quantum physics that our thoughts put out vibrational energy. And so what we're putting out, like attracts like, it has a magnetic resonance to it. So it's, you know, when you're setting goals, it's really important that you don't just think, oh, well, yeah, I'd like to earn, I don't know, say 4,000 a month, 10,000 a month. I'm just using money because it's easy to sort of quantify. When you're setting your goals, obviously make it reasonably realistic. You can't probably say, okay, I earn £100 a day now and I want to be earning 3 million by the end of the year. You never know, you might do. I mean, go for it, stick it on your dream board. But you could seriously be earning 6 figures within a year. You might not know how you're going to do it. But when you're setting those goals, you don't want to, you know, in your mind, you're not going to, when you think about earning 6 figures a year, you're not thinking of, probably you're not thinking of that, the $100,000 or pounds, whatever it is, whatever your currency is. You are thinking about seeing yourself, you're seeing yourself earning that money. You're seeing yourself, you might be seeing your bank account numbers go up. You might see the closing balance be higher than the opening balance. How cool would that be? You might see yourself opening the check in the post. You might see yourself logging into your bank details, seeing the money go up. You might see yourself just feeling incredibly relaxed and happy, the fact that you know you have that financial security, if that's something that you really crave. But you won't just see a random set of digits. Same like if I say to you now, you know, what's your ideal car that you would like to drive? You don't just see the letters C-A-R in your head. You see yourself behind the wheel. You might actually be holding the wheel. You might be smelling the new smell of a car. You might be hearing the sound of it if it's, I don't know, like a Mustang or something like that. But you will be experiencing that thought in your mind. And the more intensely you can experience that thought, guess what? You're going to be putting out that vibrational energy. And when you put out that vibrational energy, like attracts like. So, you know, I would even go so far to say, if you're somebody who really has got like their heart set on a new car, what colour is it going to be? How's it going to smell? How are you going to feel when you're driving around in it? Is it going to be sunny weather? Is it cloudy and rainy weather? You know, what is that experience for you going to be? And it's another sort of key thing when you're doing sort of setting goals and then visualizing these goals to bring them into reality, is you need to be looking at them regularly. That's why vision boards are so powerful, is if you create it on Canva. I don't know if you've heard of Canva before. It's a free app. I use mine through my Chrome. Canva and Chrome seem to work better towards each other, with each other rather. I just choose an A4 presentation template, and I just stick photos or images that either are some of my photographs or images of things that I want to achieve in the future. Most of mine are experiential. I'm not particularly materialistic. I do like to have a car that works, but I'm not really bothered what it looks like. My house, so long as it feels homely and safe and secure, I don't really care if it's big, large, big or small, or I don't. That doesn't really bother me. I'd love a view. I love being out in nature. So for my vision board, it's very experiential, things I want to do and achieve. So that might be surfing on canoeing down a whitewater river. It might be bungee jumping. It might be doing more scuba diving, getting, you know, more high-tech scuba gear so we can do more technical dives. Things like that. Things like that really light me up. I'm much more of an experienced person than a things person. But everybody has, you know, their desires, and nobody's desires are better or more valuable than anybody else's. your sense of legacy. Do you want to be able to help and contribute to your community? Do you want to be able to earn sufficient income or have sufficient time freedom that once a week or twice a week you can go and volunteer and do something that's really close to your heart, or donate to charities that are close to your heart? I think legacy is one of those things that's something I really do work hard towards. As far as creating financial freedom, it's obviously being able to afford to do those trips and travel the world, but it's also creating legacy. So, you know, when I turn up my toes, my kids are well cared for, and hopefully sufficient left for their grandchildren to be well cared for, and possibly even great grandchildren. You know, if travel is one of yours, where do you want to travel? Don't just say, I want to travel. Where? What countries do you want to travel to? You know, when do you want to travel to those countries? How long do you want to travel in them? Do you want to travel and stay in a hotel, or do you want to travel and backpack? You know, one of my things on my vision board is hiking. I've got a really good friend who has done all these sort of famous long distance hikes. He's actually a brilliant author too. His books are superb. If you ever want a really good hiking book, check him out. Keith Foskett. He's really great. He's very funny. And he's inspired me to, when I'm able to, time-wise, I'm going to do some of the long hikes. So it's something I've been thinking about for a number of years, and I'm really excited about it. So that's on my vision board too. You know, if you know you've got destinations that you really want to spend time in, maybe get some artifacts, or you know, if it's I don't know, maybe candles, Tibetan bowls, wherever wherever you want to be, things that remind you of that destination. Palm trees. You can't put a palm tree in your house, but you can have images of things like that around, and you know, put that on your vision board as well. Have some lovely stones. You know, if you want to go and play with, get involved with crystal work, or I don't know, archaeology, that sort of thing. Put stones and fossils around, whatever it is. Bring the sort of the dream and the vision into your daily life. And even if you just have your vision board, make sure you spend time not just looking at it on a daily basis, but sitting, looking, and literally just meditating, really honestly and truly meditating on each of the things you want to create. Because when you're thinking about your experience of that, you're putting out that vibration, and that is what is going to attract it back to you. Now, of course, you have to take action. But when you've got a really clear vision of where you want to be, and you've sort of worked it back as to probably what you need to achieve, I don't know, what do you need to do on a daily basis to reach your goal? What do you need to do on a weekly basis to reach your goal? What do you need to do on a monthly basis to reach your goal, so that in 12 months' time you've reached it, or you're as near as damn it to reach it? When you have that clear, defined vision, it's much easier then to find that motivation and that enthusiasm to take those steps so that you achieve that goal by the end of the year. I think that's pretty much what I'm just going through my notes because I didn't want to miss anything out. Now, just going back to the story of my son and his band, they met at college, at school. They're called Marmalade Sandwich, and it's quite sweet. There was 2 blonde boys and 1 ginger guy, so they're called Marmalade Sandwich. That's where this whole concept of their band became born. It's grown to 5 members now, and they started playing a few gigs at school. They just did the odd show at school. They've done a few gigs outside now. They're doing a European tour this summer. They've done some wedding venues. They've done some rugby club venues. But just literally by having a passion of music and hanging out together, they're all very quirky. They're all incredibly talented in their own little area of expertise. And these lads, they just decided that they were going to hire sound studio one day, and they put this record together, and it's blown me away. I think it's so, they've achieved so much by just following their dream. And I think when you're younger, you do it subconsciously. As we get older, that's when you think, oh, crikey, I could never put a song out. How on earth would I do it? I don't even know how to do it. Just start the steps, start singing, start writing the music. You know, then Google. These guys didn't know where to get a song studio. They Googled it, and they found one, and it's all working for them. It got released today. I mean, whether or not they make any success from it or not, it doesn't really matter. Yes, it would be lovely if they made some success from it. But the thing is, they've done it. They've now, all those five lads can say, I released a song and it was on iTunes, it's on Spotify, it's on Instagram. Radio stations want to play it. You know, they're going to include it in their European tour when they go away this summer. It's what a lovely achievement for them to have just followed this dream of making music together. It was just one of those things that happened. When I learned to fly the helicopter, I was gifted a lesson for my birthday flying. I love that sort of thing. I love engines, and I fell in love with it. And as soon as I'd had my lesson, I thought, I want a career in this. I want to teach people how to fly the helicopter. So I got my private pilot's license. I then worked out the cheapest way to fly, because flying costs a heck of a lot of money. And the cheapest way was to set up a business. I had a couple of male, one was helicopter instructor and the other one just liked to fly for fun. So we set up a business between the three of us, and the idea was that we would rent out our helicopters. So we'd, you know, hire it out, make money that way, but we'd also give, particularly me who wanted to become an instructor, I'd need to get a lot of hours up before I could get my instructor's rating. It would give me, you know, pretty much flying at trade prices, as it were, because it was our machine, or one of our machines. And I did that, but then my circumstances entirely changed. One, I got divorced and I represented myself in court, and that became a very, very arduous time. It became such an energy suck, and I mean, it was a horrible, horrible time of my life. And then the CAA, Civil Aviation Authority, changed the rules that all instructors then had to get their commercial license, which technically means you need to learn how to fly a jumbo jet, even if you're flying a helicopter, which just seems stupid, which also then added about another £25,000 onto my already very stretched budget for flying. And it was just too much. Too much was going on, and it was one of my absolute dreams and one of my passions, and I had to park it because I hadn't gotten the mental energy, the mental clarity, or the finances to risk doing my commercial pilot's license and then getting my instructor's rating. And so I still fly helicopters. I don't fly them as often as I'd like to. But again, when, you know, once I've checked off a few more things on my vision board, I'll just do it as a hobby eventually again when I want to. My parents all live halfway across the country, well, completely the other side of the country. So having that availability just to fly across to see them is a lot easier than it is to drive. But again, don't see that as a failure. I see it as something that was one of the most rewarding experiences I have ever done. And what spurred me on to do that was when my dad died. I was sat on the end of his bed, and I stayed with him for quite a long time after he died. And I remember thinking, I really hope Dad didn't have any regrets. And it was such a powerful thought of mine that when I die, I don't want my children to say to themselves, Mum had regrets. I want them to know that I followed my dreams and that I really sucked as much energy as I could out of life, and also gave as much energy as I could to this life, because this is what we've got. This is it. And I don't want to waste it. And so, you know, that was a really defining moment when Dad died, and just having that thought process, but then thinking, bloody hell, I hope my children can say Mum didn't have any regrets. So that's how I live my life. You say yes to opportunities. I don't say yes to every opportunity, but I say yes to a lot of opportunities. And as a result of that, I was chronically shy. I would never have done this 2 years ago. It's only since becoming an online health and fitness coach that I feel confident enough to do this. I also said yes to becoming a radio show host 2 years ago. That was terrifying as well. I had no social media experience at all. I'm not particularly clever. I have a real passion for learning, but I'm not the brightest button in the box by a long shot. But when I do learn something, I really like to sort of get my teeth into it and really sort of dig down and sort of, so I suppose, expand my knowledge that way. And so this is where it's landed me now, and I feel incredibly happy in my life. I've got the security that I want. My children are happy. We're healthy. But I've still got new things on my vision board that I want to achieve. So, you know, your vision board will change year from year. You might find that in 3 months' time, you've already achieved one of those things on your vision board and you're ready to replace that picture with something else. But all I can say to you is make your vision board as bright and as relevant to you as you possibly can. Dream big, because even if you don't quite get there, you're going to get a heck of a lot further than if you dream small. And look at it every single day, and don't just look at it, sit with it for a while. Just 5 minutes, that's all it takes. Look at your board and go through each of those images individually and absorb that sensation of being in that. You're not thinking this is what I'm going to have. You're thinking as though you've got it already. This is yours now, and it's that emotion and that vibrational energy that you will be putting out there when you are, you know, sat there thinking about your vision, that is going to help attract it to you. Don't worry if you don't know how you're going to get there. None of us really know how we get to where we end up. It's just it's about having faith that you will get there, and belief that you have everything that you need inside of you, which you do, in order to get there. The way will unfold itself. It might be completely unexpected way. You've never thought about it before, and you will find opportunities will show up. It's really weird how it happens. But you do have to commit to regular vision boarding, you know, as in look at it every day, experience each image on your vision board, and make a note to revisit your vision board in 6 months and definitely in 12 months. I'm putting a note in my diary that I've got to watch this again running up to next year, so that we can then reconvene next New Year's Day and see how our vision boards have gone. So you guys, if you're going to put a vision board together, however you do, whether you use Canva, whether you just cut pictures out of magazines and stick them on some cardboard, doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter how you do it. Make a note, please make a note in your diary that on when we get together next year, we can have a session. I might even do a webinar. If you kind of let me know, message me if you would like to be part of the webinar for next year, so we can all share our vision boards. We'll do it through Zoom. Dead easy. It's a free app, and we can share our boards, and we can share what we've achieved and accomplished over the last 12 months together. That would be so cool to do. I'd love that. So if you're on for that, let's do vision boarding together. If you actually want to have more of an interactive vision board tutorial, again, message me. I will do a webinar, we'll share it together, and then it will set us up for the next 12 months ahead. So if that would help you, I'm happy to do that as well. So you guys, Sylvie, lovely to see you. Sylvie and I have been pen pals, oh gosh, about 25 years now. It's great, isn't it, connecting with people? So have a very healthy and happy 2020. Wish you all every success with it, and yeah, get back to me if you want me to do the webinar in the next few days to get us set up with our vision boards, or if you're just happy and we can make sure you do your vision board, and if you want to be tagged for next year before I do it, and we can all get together and compare our vision boards and what our results are. We can all keep ourselves accountable. Okay, you guys, have a great rest of your day, and remember, anything is possible. You've got everything you need right inside of you now to get started. You don't need to know how you're going to get there. You just need to know where you want to go. Okay, take care of you.